Welcome on to the Tortillas and Takes podcast. You are on once again with your boy, Albie Shore, and it is a transfer festival, a festivus, right? A mania, a manic mania, just a revolt, like all the adjectives and all the verbs that you can put in there in this transfer portal season. It's been crazy. We have players leaving, we have players coming in, we have players on campus right now as we speak begging Cody Campbell to pay them more money so they can put on the scarlet and black. It's being absolutely crazy. Not only that, but there's a hysteria amongst the college football world. We got people from Idaho throwing forks at people from Colorado, and people from San Jose. Apparently, everybody are huge San Jose Spartans fans now. All of a sudden, right? And then afterwards, with all that foray happening and everything like that happening, basketball is also happening as the Texas Tech men and Texas Tech women are off to some pretty hot non-con starts, a combined 18-4 between the two of them. So to talk about all of this, not only is it me here, but I also got the Red Raider expert himself, Joe Lopez. What's going on, Joe?
Oh, boy, howdy. Has this transfer portal been fun? It's kind of crazy driving by Jones Stadium and seeing all those Brinks trucks and stuff around there. But, it is what it is. If Cody said he'll buy us a O-line or whatever, he sure put his money where his mouth was. And, man, some of the names on this list that we've already got to come here and, commit to Texas Tech. And then some of these other players that are, kind of on that fringe coming to Texas Tech as well. Man, some big time firepower potentially coming to the 806. And, man, 2025 can't get here soon enough. But, we could talk about basketball. We could talk about the transfer portal, whatever you want to talk about. We'll be here for it. But, yeah, a lot's going on right now in the 806.
Cody Campbell, Cody Campbell, we talked about this on the pod. We talked about the fact that he called us all Pink Raiders. We talked about the fact that he was being a little pretentious and this and the other. You know what, Cody? Forget everything we were saying. Do you call us Pink Raiders anytime you want to? Talk crap about us at any point. That's fine. You don't keep buying everybody like this. Hey, do you, buddy? Listen. Who am I to tell you what to do with your money, right? Like Cody Campbell went out and said somebody talked mess. And he said, stop being a Pink Raider, bitch, and go buy us an O-line. And he said, I will. And he's doing it. It is truly incredible to see what he's doing there. So, we can start at the O-line and start there first and foremost because, like I said, he's doing it. And that really starts with Hunter Zambrano. So Hunter Zambrano, a guy who's ranked, 32nd overall, and according to On3, when it comes to guys in the transfer portal, coming from Illinois State, right? Committing to Texas Tech, saying, I don't need any of that other stuff. I don't need Arkansas. I don't need Oklahoma. I got Texas Tech right here. So just really a huge pickup, 4-star transfer guy committing. And that just really opened up, I think, the floodgates right there on the line, especially. So talk a little bit about Hunter Zambrano. What do you think he's going to bring, right? He's a guy that it was highly, I think he might have been the number 1 or 2 highest rated PFF guy in the portal on the O-line. So we had line problems. We have to replace our left tackle, who's been our starting left tackle for the last 3 years. I just got a whole lot easier.
Oh, most definitely. Absolutely. For all you Tech fans out there, I don't know if this name rings a bell to anybody, maybe to you, Albie, but Manny Ramirez. If you remember that name, Manny Ramirez on that offensive line, Hunter Zambrano has a lot of these intangibles that a Manny Ramirez had. Nasty, big guy. This is just one of those key components that you want to have anchoring that offensive line. And this was exactly like you said, the first puzzle piece to drop down for this transfer cycle for, guys to start committing to Texas Tech. But we all knew the trenches were going to be the point of emphasis for this Texas Tech football team. We struggled getting to the quarterback, and we struggled, keeping, even if Tosh had 1,500 yards rushing, there was still times where he was getting met in the backfield, and Tosh had to do Tosh things to, get, positive yards there. So two of the biggest components of this offseason was to address the trenches, and Hunter Zambrano was going to be that very first piece to fall for the offensive line. And he looks like your day one starter coming in on this offensive line for this 2025 season.
Oh, I mean, our new Texas Tech football, the Jerry Jones of Texas Tech is going to make sure that we got that starting tackle. You know what I mean? And even better than Jerry Jones is he doesn't talk much.
Not at all.
Ain't no interviews. Ain't no interviews. He's just gonna tweet us and call us Pink Raiders and say I'm a buy it online. And that's fine. Listen, if those are your only tweets, Cody, go ahead with it. That is okay by me. All right.
Right.
And so another signing we did get on the trenches. Talk about Skylar Gill Howard from Northern Illinois. Big boy, 6'1", 227 pounds, can play both the three technique inside as well as playing on the outside as a D end as well. Really agile for his size. Talk a little bit about Gil Howard.
Man, also another player that has multiple roles, what he could do. And I don't know, I haven't gone back to look at Coach Wood's defense and how he ran at Houston per se, exactly like a whole lot of film on it, but he does do a lot of stunts as well. And this is one of those guys that you want to have on the stunning end, on the defensive end, coming back inside, because his power moves, and then for his size, how well he moves and gets under blocks and is able to get off of blocks as well is top tier. And this is also one of those guys that could get into the backfield and wreak havoc on any kind of RPO or just get in a quarterback's face and making any throw that much more difficult. So in what Skylar Gill Howard brings to the table, and for a bigger bodied guy, he could actually run sideline to sideline pretty good. Mm-hmm. If you go back and look at some of the tape that they've put out there on this kid, man, he's running down running backs, that have made it outside the tackle box, and he's chasing them down. So this is a high motor guy. These are the guys that never stop until the whistle blows, and an energy guy. So if you're looking for the most, what's the mantra for the brand itself, the most competitive, most hardworking, all of that shit, this guy has it already. And even the coaches that have coached this kid just say that he's a high IQ guy, high motor guy, and he's easily he's coachable. Those are, that's what you want, and that's what you want in a player, especially coming into a brand new system. And I can't wait for him to get here.
Coach Fitch is going to love him, love getting a QB hunter like him. 12th highest ranked defensive lineman in the portal. I forgot to mention Zambrano. I mentioned him being the 32nd highest ranked player in the portal in general. The number one interior lineman in the portal, according to 247, or according to 24/7. It is up. It is up. But we're talking a little bit about the line. Joe, we as of this point, as we're recording this, have 7 commits. Right. And a lot of them is in one area of the field. And we have compared about it. We have 8 commits. Sorry, I forgot we had that move times 8. We just got another commit here, literally like an hour before we started talking. But but actually, and it goes to talk about this, because this area, the secondary, we have complained about the secondary at Texas Tech for as long as I have been a fan. Right. We have complained about the secondary in the 2000s, in the 2010s, and now in the 2020s, still complaining about the secondary. And so, what we have done is we are doing the best we can possibly do to make sure this secondary is good, right? So starting off with the commit we just got, and Amir Boyd Matthews, right? A cornerback was recently at UTEP, right? We have Dante Balfour, cornerback that was recently at Charlotte. Both 3-star transfer guys, both highly rated cornerbacks, both guys that actually I was talking about Boyd Matthews. I heard that the staff feels that he's wildly underrated, but has really good length. Both Balfour and Boyd Matthews, really good length, really long arms, tall corners. You also have Cole Wisnowski from North Dakota State. What I'm saying? Hey, this is going to be Jeremy's boy right here. Strong and 6'4", 220. Right, kind of a horse right there from Sparta, Wisconsin. You know what I mean? Like this is the type of guy that we definitely want in that safety position, kind of laying the hat. But I saved the prize winner for last in a bit. Bryce Pollock, top 50 player in the portal. One, I think, and I forgot to mention that Wisniewski was the number 2 safety in the portal. So there's that. But also Bryce Pollock, I think top 3 corner in the portal as well, from Mississippi State. And this is a guy, 4-star transfer recruit, was getting him over. Listen, Oklahoma gonna hate us because I think a lot of Sooner fans thought, that's us, that's a win. We're definitely getting him. Yeah, sorry about you. Get your bag up, get your money up, get you a Cody Campbell. All right, Bryce Pollock, a ball hawk, great ball skills, one of the best defenders at Mississippi State last year. Now, and he's a guy that's like, I'm going to Texas Tech, so I'm just going so I can try to go to the league. Like, that's his mindset right now. If you're Bryce Pollock, you're like, what is the path to get me to the NFL? Oh, you know what? Texas Tech's actually got a couple corners that in the NFL recently. That'll play. All right. What about the secondary?
Well, as much as we always talk about it, at every decade since 2000, right? Mine early 2000s, it was like, okay, we kind of got some pieces there. We'll be all right. Then 2010s come around. Hey, we kind of got some pieces there. We'll be all right. Didn't happen. And then just more recently, we do have some higher rated recruits out in the secondary, and it just didn't, they very much underwhelmed. Depth there also hurt us a lot of youth as well. So what was addressed as much as anything, we bring in all these vets that have a significant playing time. Boyd Matthews, Pollock, like you said, Balfour had some crazy statistics as well. What was it, like 19 or 20 pass breakups this last season at Charlotte? Yep. I mean, yeah, just crazy number. And Cole Wisniewski, I think is how you say it. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, that dude at North Dakota State, I mean, that's as close to Division I football as there's going to be in the FCS level. I mean, they're always in the championship or always playing for that FCS title there. So, man, if you're talking about addressing some needs, you do have some guys that are coming back. You have your Chapman Lewis, you have your Jordan Sanfords, your Brendan Jordans, those, and your Marion Horn, kind of like younger guys. But then now you build that room up even more so with veteran leadership and guys that have been there and played at this level. Mississippi State, Charlotte, UTEP, these North Dakota States, man, you have to be very excited about what we've done and elevated the defensive back room, and to see what Coach Wood has in store for these defensive backs, man. He's going to have a lot of players at his disposal, fresh faces, and then all of the faces that are returning from last year's squad.
No, and a lot of those guys, like we mentioned, I especially expect Pollock and Wisniewski to get a lot of PT. Pollock, I mean, just line him up. Hey, Pollock, you're just gonna be there on one of the sides. We're gonna find out what we're gonna do on the other side of cornerback, but you're just gonna be over there, okay? We'll figure the rest of it out. Pollock, you do you. Excuse me. You be the star that we need you to be. But I expect Wisniewski especially to get a lot of playing time. And again, I mentioned the fact that Boyd and that Balfour, with their size, I think they're going to be great depth pieces, guys that are going to really come in here, work their tails off, because they're underrated. They're coming from lower level areas, and they just want a chance to prove themselves. And they're guys that they're going to do more than just prove themselves, right? Balfour knows what it takes to kind of be a player at this level. Previously at North Carolina, went to Charlotte and started just racking it up. He had over 100 tackles this year, right? Was also at cornerback, really played the run really well. And so he knows what it takes to play at this level. And then even as I kind of talk about Boyd playing at UTEP, right? Unsung guy, wasn't rated out of high school, wasn't supposed to be anything, wasn't rated as a transfer portal guy, wildly underrated. And he's trying to show what he can do here at this level. So before I did skip over a guy when we were talking about the line, because it wasn't just Zambrano that was the line guy. So I got to skip back to the line and talk about another big guy. Jeremy's not here, but you know how much he loves his tall, girthy men. And so 6'8", 307-pound Will Jettos from Miami, Ohio. That'll play. Big old boy. Lord. I mean, what about that fifth-year senior Will Jetto coming in here.
Like, these are those guys, right? Those Nebraska-esque kind of guys. What do they say? Country fed white boys. He's from the Midwest. 6'8", 308. I mean, they just don't build kids that big. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is just an absolute mauler. He kind of flew under the radar because this wasn't a name that was thrown out there a lot during the cycle. I've tried to keep up with as many names as I possibly can. I could prove it too. It's just one of those deals. Like, his name wasn't thrown around. I just knew that, at some point he came in late in the cycle. The measurables, you can't beat. You're probably going to use him at, I don't know, probably as a tackle, maybe an inside guy. Who knows? I mean, I would assume a guard. I don't know.
6'8". Throw him on the edge and just say, hey, whoever you see, pick him up and throw him down.
Right. Yeah. Like, I almost feel bad for our quarterback having to look around, past him wherever he likes.
That's what I'm saying. I don't even want to put him on the inside. Yeah, right. Morton's gonna be like, "Oh man, come on now, move yourself."
Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? But yeah, 6'8", 307. He's been around a while. I think it was Miami of Ohio. So I mean, he's played some meaningful football up there. Maybe not quite, Big 12 football, but he's been around. So and that leadership, veteranship, just knowing the game and wanting to come in and learn right away. I think this is going to, bode well for the offensive line group for sure.
Yeah, and so one thing is Jetto was not ranked. He didn't. It wasn't a lot of fanfare, right? It wasn't a lot of but he did have other offers, right? He had Oklahoma State offered, Pitt offered, Wake Forest offered. So like other programs, right? Just getting a guy like this away from Oklahoma State, away from a conference rival, is huge. I think that's a big piece there. You can't have him because we grab him, right? And so that's absolutely fantastic. And then also another person we want to talk about these big time players. Listen, this Texas Tech. If there's one position I never have to worry about us being able to recruit, it is at the wide receiver position, right? And so Miami, Ohio, y'all got some good players over there. Y'all got some good talent. Reggie Virgil, come on over here. 4-star recruit, number 6 receiver in the portal. We won't talk about who number 1 was, but number 6 receiver in the portal. Guy that almost had 1,000 yards on the season at Miami, Ohio, which was not a pass-heavy offense. You may say to yourself, well, what do those guys out of Ohio know how to do? Let me tell you something. This boy from Mount Dora, Florida. We got a Florida boy, all right? He don't got wicks in his hair just yet, but I know he's growing them. Reggie Virgil, very excited to see what he can do. What did you think about Reggie, Joe?
Reminds me a lot, like a little bit thicker Kiki, whenever we had him here at Texas Tech, just maybe not quite as much as the game-changing speed, but as far as, making the tough catches in traffic, being able to run all the routes, making everything, he checks all the boxes there. If you're looking for the person to come in to fill in for a Josh Kelly's departure, this is the guy who's a plug-and-play piece from day one. So Reggie Virgil was a highly sought after wide receiver as well. And guess what? Coming down to Lubbock. So just another piece, a piece that, Coach Leftwich is going to have at his disposal, and what he, runs as far as, these multiple, what did he call them? Those, the multiple route scheme. I can't remember the word, what he said, just, it's like, it could be this route, or it could be this route. It's just one of those deals. Reggie Virgil's probably going to excel highly in Coach Leftwich's offense.
No, that's really exciting to hear. And so we have 8 stud recruits right now. I believe I know us and Ole Miss are battling out for top transfer portal recruiting class. And last year, for the 2024 class, when we were ranked very high. At one point, we were the number 1 class in the country, which is very exciting. But I think we all knew that was going to come down eventually, which is fine. But it was fun to be number 1 for a little bit. This is one of those where I feel like we're number 1, and we're really trying to end it at number 1. Like, we really look at it and say that, no, we should have the best transfer portal class. And the crazy thing about that is that we didn't lose a swath of players, right? Like, it's not like we lost half the team, so therefore we have to recoup. No, we actually kept the majority of our star guys. Now, that being said, there was one player in particular that we didn't play much this past season, but we were hoping was going to be a highlight next year. And that's Micah Hudson, of course. Micah Hudson, former 5-star player. He was a 4-star transfer here. He announced he was going to enter himself in the portal. There were some thoughts and hopes, and we talked about in the pod that maybe he might still make his way back to Texas Tech. Once he officially answered his name in the portal, I think it was safe to say that he was going to be gone. And he's committed to A&M. And let me tell you something. The second he put his name in the portal, I'm like, oh, he's an Aggie. He's going to A&M. All right. I think it's no secret that Micah Hudson wants to stay in the state. It's no secret he wants his family to be able to come over to watch his games and things like that. And A&M did something that I think was very smart, which is after Hudson committed to Texas Tech, instead of doing the Texas thing, which was, all right, well, screw you, kid, A&M said, you know what, we're going to recruit him even more. A&M's recruitment of Hudson, if you ask me, was more consistent and stronger after his commitment to Tech than before. It wasn't because they thought, oh, he's going to decommit from Tech. And as assignment happened, I was like, oh, they're continuing this commitment just in case. And then just in case happened, and sure enough, A&M, that became top of the list. That was all right. Well, I remember you all have fond memories of you. Honestly, I don't think Texas had a chance. You cut, and mind you, Texas has a lot of good receivers, so it's not going to hurt them too much. But so does A&M, so does Tech. Like Texas fans that think, oh, we didn't want them, that's foolish. Obviously, you wanted them. There's not a program in the country that didn't want the talent that he is. I always find it funny when fans lie to themselves about this. But yeah, he's going to A&M. All powers to him. Good stuff there. But with him going to A&M, well, that just means that Cody got to recoup a little bit more. Mahomes, you got to recoup a little bit of that bag, and we can. Who else is out there? Maybe it's Phillips, Joe. Maybe it's Phillips.
Maybe it's Phillips. Who knows? Maybe. I don't. That may be a little bit of a stretch there, buddy. But who knows?
Holden Phillips, Friendship High School's own recent commit. He's gonna be competing with Barron and Hammond for the starting job next year. He's like, hey man,
calm down. I love Holden, right? Because my daughter attends Friendship High School, and I've watched Leighton Stone, Holden Phillips, these guys play over the course of the last 4 years, and to watch them kind of grow up. I mean, he's no slouch at the quarterback position. I think he had very, very good numbers with low interception. His pocket presence is pretty good. I mean, not pretty good. It's above average. He played in the 6A level. I mean, he did his own. I mean, him and Leighton kept them in that game against and Chase Campbell against South Lake Carroll in the state quarterfinals, if I'm not mistaken. And that game was back and forth. So he's going to be all right.
Let me tell you something, Joe. When he gets his Tech degree, he's going to have a mean senior year at Wayland Baptist. A mean one. He's going to, what I'm saying, those Wayland Baptist is going to love him in that grad senior year. I tell you.
Watch, he's going to bulk up and turn into Taysom Hill. Mark my words, dude. I'd be
down for that.
This dude's a baller, man. Like,
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, exactly. You get into that college nutrition level kind of stuff and working out, this dude is about to turn into something that we're not prepared for. And Leighton Stone as well. Leighton Stone is kind of like the Coy Eakin story, had massive numbers in high school, wasn't highly recruited out of high school. And look, and now he was almost like a day one starter once he was healthy. So I wouldn't slouch on those dudes from Friendship. Phillips probably has a longer trajectory to go than, Leighton does, but both of those are really good kids, and they're very good football players. So don't sleep on them.
It is sad that Lubbock doesn't get enough media attention from like recruiting and scouting bases and stuff like that. Shout out to Jason Pearson, who does, I think, a really good job as far as getting local Lubbock media like talent out there, right? He doesn't just do Texas Tech stuff, but he also does some of the high school talent around. So yeah, no, shout out. I think he's one of the best that does it. Then of course all the local news things, but really it's there's talent out here. It's a nice West Texas talent out here for sure. And so obviously we're talking about all these recruits that committed to Tech. A lot of recruits did end up leaving. Outside of Michael Hudson, though, and I used to have a comment that said that starters don't transfer. That was used to be my slogan. Now, obviously, with the new transfer portal NIL, that is no longer the truth. Starters do transfer, but outside of Hudson, I don't think any projected starter next year actually transferred. Right, like there was a couple guys. I mean, maybe Ty Buchanan's a name that comes to mind that probably could have started next year. Maybe Caden Carr, maybe.
That's a fringe guy for sure.
That's a fringe guy. Jordan Brown's another fringe guy, the receiver position that might have started. But Hudson's the only guy that I looked at and said, "Oh, he was going to play. If he didn't transfer, he was going to play." Everybody else, I'm like, a couple fringe guys. And then Buchanan probably would have started, but also at the same time, he ain't starting. Buchanan ain't starting over Zambrano. He ain't starting over Zambrano. I don't even know if he would start over. I don't even know if he would start over. Names are difficult. Jados, right? Like this one. It's funny. A lot of the transfer that came out this time around, I looked at it. I'm like, how much of this is raw transfer and how much of this is, hey man, it's your senior year coming up. We got some plans. We can't guarantee you a position. Maybe you should go find somewhere that can guarantee you a position. All right. That's what it seemed like to me. Because a lot of the names that I heard, they went into the portal. I'm like, well, Brady Boyd, we'd love to have you here still, but maybe it does make sense for you to see what else is out there and get playing time elsewhere. Right, Jake Strong. I mean, it's like you could stay here and be the third string quarterback next year, or you could go somewhere that you can actually play. Right. Incarnate Word is, and I'm not even saying this as a joke. Incarnate Word is about to not have a quarterback. They're starting quarterback anymore. That's going to be a real opportunity there. North Texas, same thing.
ACU too.
ACU, same thing. Right. Like, so I'm not like, again, I'm not even saying this as a joke. I'm very serious in those aspects. All right. So go there, prove yourself, and then you get your opportunity. Garrett Morris is doing that right now. Garrett Morris spent the year over at North Texas, balled out like crazy. His name is in the transfer portal. So after TCU, it seemed like, oh, he's going to be, forever doomed to UNT. No, he balled out. Now he's back in the transfer portal. He's going to get some offers. So I could easily see that being the case for Jake Strong. Brady Boyd going into his senior year. This is your last year. Do you really want to spend it, catching punts and being on the bench, or do you want to spend it somewhere you can actually have a good time? You know what I mean? Right. Who knows? Maybe Quinn can get Brady, and Quinn and Brady can tag up wherever they're going. If Quinn ends up transferring. Dalton Merriman, another one. That's another guy that's about to be a senior. Like, what other options are there out there for some of these guys? So, Jalen Peoples, another one. Like, that's one. I saw him come in. I'm like, you're from Cedar Hill. You and Coach McGuire have a close relationship. This definitely seemed like one. It's like, hey, we got about 5 corners coming next year. I know what's coming in tow, and I know your ability, and I want to see your ability get the opportunity to play, right? And so, I don't think any fan should have ill will to the players that are in the transfer portal. The high majority of them, it did to me seem like, hey, let's see what else is out there. So, all power to them. I hope guys like Miles Thompson and Caden Turner. I hope these guys do, have success somewhere else. Hudson, out of that group that I'm mentioning, Hudson's the only one that's committed anywhere. So I don't necessarily know if there's what other optics that some of the other guys have, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I know McGuire's making the calls for him because that's what he did. He did that for Loic last year, and some of the other players that they played in the bowl game made calls and put some tape out there, and then they ultimately got picked up. I don't think that we're done on our end as far as transfers out of Texas Tech.
Oh, no.
Just based on some of the names that are being thrown around as potential transfers coming in, and so you're just going to have these tough conversations with some of these players that were on the fringe about playing. Now they're like, hey, I got some guy that's ready right now. So like, where do we stack up with some of these dudes and stuff like that? So hopefully we could figure it out, or hopefully we take the ones that we want and we don't lose anymore. But there's always that possibility of losing some more players that just based on who decides to want to come here, because Coach Leftwich is going to have a different philosophy than Kitley. Yeah, Shell Wood's going to have a different philosophy than Tim DeRuiter. So who knows what kind of personnel that they're going to want here at this university. They're going to want kind of some of their guys. So exactly, if we're done seeing Tech players enter the portal, maybe not, but we'll see over the next couple of days.
Yeah, definitely we'll see. So you mentioned Tech not being done. Joe McGuire at the beginning of the transfer season mentioned that he wanted to get about 10 guys via the portal. We just mentioned that we have 8 currently. I don't think we're done at 10, to be honest. We have 8 currently committed. We have 8 guys that are scheduled to be on campus this week. I think 2 or 3 of them are already on campus. Terrence Carter, the tight end from Louisiana Lafayette, let everybody know he's in Lubbock. I'm in Lubbock, I'm single, ready to mingle in Lubbock, Texas. Right? Like he is so he is a tight end from Louisiana that's already on board. I think, Joe, you were saying in the chat earlier, Amir Matthews, the cornerback from UTEP, he's trying to join his boy Boyd out here as well. I believe are they brothers?
Who's that?
Him and Boyd, are they related inside? Maybe I'm making this up. But Boyd Matthews and the commit and Amir Matthews. I didn't know if they were. I literally
Boyd,
just put the last names together.
Did you put?
I'm tripping.
His name, Amir Boyd Matthews is his name.
The commit we already have, yes. So Terrence Carter, and then we have a couple tackles, right? Lee Hunter, the big tackle, one of the top tackles in the portal, right? He's scheduled to be on campus this week, as is Romello Height, big boy for a big edge from Georgia Tech. And first of all, before we talk about some of the other guys in the coming on campus, talk about the guys that I just mentioned. You don't have to mention Boyd Matthews again, so we talked about him. But talk about the other guys.
Terrence Carter, a plug and play piece. Adding him with John Carlos Miller would be, a pretty hefty tandem there. He's pretty solid tight end. He's amazing in the open field. Is a really good blocker as well. He just makes plays. So if you're looking for a guy to fill in for like a Jalen Conyers, you're losing Mason Tharp as well, I believe. So you're going to have to, bulk up this tight end room. This would be a perfect piece to add to that room for Texas Tech. Then Lee Hunter, obviously that name is being thrown around a lot. There's also another guy, I believe, Jamal Jarrett, defensive lineman out of Georgia, has 3 years of eligibility left. And then Romello Height, the defensive end from Georgia Tech. So you're talking about some guys some hefty guys up front that could take up space. And then you have some athleticism, with what you could do there with what Coach Woods runs as a base defense there. You could get some pressure on the quarterback, and maybe you don't have to worry about bringing in all this pressure just to get pressure on the quarterback or to stop the run. So, we're shopping. Black Friday continues for Cody Campbell and the donors of Texas Tech. It's just one of these things. These names are out there. We're looking to have an impact day one starter kind of caliber players, so we could go ahead and etch our name in the Big 12 championship early on next year. But I think as Chris Level said best, all the chips are in the middle of the table. It seems like this Texas Tech staff and the fan base itself, Cody Campbell mostly has everything. Hey, we're going all in this year, and just to see if this philosophy works of transfers mixed in with the high school talent coming in, to see if you could actually make a difference immediately.
Yeah, one thing I do want to say, we've been talking about Cody Campbell quite a bit here, but it's also the Matador Club. Like we have a top 20 NIL in the country, right? Like it's the Matador Club is also they plugging away. Cody Campbell and other big money donors too. It ain't just Cody Campbell either. Other big money. It's great to have wildly rich people, and then all the little people funneling all our monies together to match the wildly rich people. is getting some of these guys as well. So to talk about some of these guys, so Lee Hunter, like I mentioned, 4th highest ranked D lineman in the portal, 4-star transfer guy. He's a guy that has so many offers right now that, obviously includes
Texas.
well, anyways, includes Texas, includes Oklahoma, includes Florida State is another big one there. Also a guy that used to play at Auburn, so he is used to the SEC style as well. And listen, he blew it up at UCF last year. Like we talked about it whenever we just him being one of the best impact players on the defensive side of the ball. And so the fact that if we find a way to get him just to come on the other side of the ball here, because Texas Tech is we were a little late to the game, right? I think there was some thoughts that he would go to a Texas, to a Florida State, to one of these. And all of a sudden, Texas Tech comes like, oh, Texas Tech can't be playing out here with the big boys. And Lee Hunter's like, actually, let me hear them out. And so now it's looking like there's a really good shot there. Corey Robinson, 7th highest ranked tackle in here, 6'5", 305, mean mauler type of player right there. Romello Height, also from Georgia Tech, 4-star recruit. 247 already has a crystal ball prediction that he will be coming and bringing his way to Texas Tech, which would be huge. And then Terrence Carter, 4th highest ranked tight end. Jeremy's going to love him, right? You know how Jeremy is with his tight ends. You know what I mean? So also crystal ball prediction there for Romello Height. And then we talking all this. What about Upton Belafonte? We need a kicker, Joe. Upton Belafonte from Buffalo. Nice little redhead. Nice little redhead kicker.
Yeah, the luck of the Irish. We need some of that on our kicking game. But yeah, that was an interesting name that I heard earlier this morning of a potential kicker prospect out of Buffalo coming down to the hub city, to kick for the good guys. So, I mean, we got to – who are we losing? Did we lose Gino or did we lose the other kicker? Or did we lose both?
I believe it was Gino, if I'm not mistaken. Gino, I believe. I know Gino did do the senior day walk.
Right.
Now, we all know that the senior day walk doesn't always mean you played your last day at Texas Tech. With the – sometimes it can just mean – like Brady Boyd did the senior day walk, and he still has a year of eligibility left. So it doesn't always mean that. But I believe Gino is a senior. And as I'm looking it up now, he was a super senior. So, yeah, so Gino is those – Houston Baptist took away some of his early eligibility years.
Yeah. Big leg kind of kid. And I mean, he 50 plus a couple of times this year. So, maybe with the wind at his back, maybe 60 plus in the Jones, who knows? But yeah, a guy you won on your team, the consistent kicker there. Hopefully we're just scoring points, all he's good for is extra points and stuff like that. We won't need to use them for anything else, but Upton Belafonte, the redhead.
Listen, if he commits, I'm calling him Belafonte from here on out. That's his name right there. And actually, he should be. Kickers aren't always the hottest commodity in recruiting, but especially since we will need a guy like that. And so good to see what he can do there. So last but not least, a couple other guys that might be on the radar. One guy that you're pretty excited about, and from Bowling Green, Terrence Stewart, nice running back there. But really, let me tell you something. Out of all the people, I probably should be more excited for Romello Height. I know I should probably be much more excited for a guy like Lee Hunter or like Corey Robinson, but Quentin Joyner. So Quentin Joyner from Manor, Texas, running back from Manor, Texas, is the highest rated recruit from, I think, in Manor High School history. You know who else went to Manor High School? It's Taj Brooks. He was Taj Brooks' replacement at Manor High School and had a higher rating than Taj did. Right? Quentin Joyner went out to USC. Lincoln Riley got him on the boat, took him out to USC. And after a couple of years at USC, it was like, Lincoln, y'all some losers out here. That's good. Maybe I want to be with a winner. And guess what? That means us this time around. So Quentin Joyner, 5th highest ranked running back in the portal, 4-star transfer portal recruit. I'm a little biased because I played with him on College Football 25 and he was amazing. But No, really, really good running back, shifty, both in real life and in the video game. And I'm really excited. Listen, Joey, what you got to do, make it happen, right? Getting Quentin Joyner, I think, on this. With Valdez, will be back next year, right? Like we can really shore up that running game overall. So that both of those names are two names to look out for, Joyner and Stewart. What are your thoughts there?
I like Stewart, but to your point, I like Joyner better. The whole Taj deal. Taj actually endorsed this kid here, did the eyes emoji, has tagged this kid in pretty much everything Texas Tech since he's hit the portal. So I mean, Taj has stamped his approval, and I believe Taj was here whenever he took his official here to Texas Tech whenever he was in high school. So it's just, but the connections are there, and I think that the interest is there as well, and the need is definitely there on our end. And this is kind of where that little gray area that I was just talking about, people coming into the portal and things like that. We have Valdez coming off of that knee injury, an ACL. We all know that the rehab on those things, how early is he going to be ready? Are we going to want to take an extra running back now and tell Valdez, hey guy, like this is just, it is what it is. Who knows if we take a Stewart and a Joyner, but those obviously are questions that the staff will ultimately have to answer and make those tough decisions on what they want to do. Valdez is a good kid and a good running back, but he may just lose out to the numbers game because you have a up and coming Jacoby Williams who showed flashes of brilliance as a Taj replacement. You have
still have Cam Dickey.
Yeah, you still have Cam Dickey. Maybe he's not used to block anymore, but who knows? Because he'll get better eventually. Yeah, it is. But the upside between those two guys in compare, the upside between Williams and Dickey, I think, are higher than Valdez sits right now. So who knows if Texas Tech takes a second running back in the Stewart kid? As a bruiser, I think he's like 5'11", 230, a little bit stouter Taj essentially. So is this one of those guys that you bring in down in distance, when you're on the goal line somewhere, or as blocking packages? But who knows what happens. But I think with Joyner's your obvious choice, but if you miss out on Joyner, Stewart is a capable replacement as well.
Yeah, actually, to your point, maybe it's not even a replacement because those are two different types of running backs in general, right? Like you mentioned with Stewart being a bruiser, more in that Dickey mold of just stocky guys. And then you have guys that are a little bit more slender and can kind of do multiple things like Valdez and Joyner. And then you have Jacoby Williams, who's kind of the do-it-all, A-back, speedster right there, hybrid type of guy. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a running back room that looks like that. And I don't think there's anything wrong if you go out to Charlie Hustle, charliehustle.com, the vintage-inspired apparel based out of Kansas City, Missouri. The Kansas City Chiefs keep winning games, and you can keep winning as long as you go to Charlie Hustle right there, and you can go to their website, charliehustle.com, and use our promo code 101215. That's TEN1215 to get 15% off of all non-sale items. That is 101215 TEN1215 to get that 15% off. Charlie Hustle, vintage made fresh. So, Joe, one other thing, there's a lot of discourse in football this year. This right now, we were even having an argument in the group chat about the Heisman. So people have called. Well, people. Okay. Well, first of all, I already told you it was going to happen. Right? It wasn't a question of what was going to happen. I actually thought it was a much closer than I expected it to be honest. But people have targeted it, and the slogan I've heard is that. So obviously, we don't know. Travis Hunter, the wide receiver / cornerback from Colorado, won the Heisman. The person who came in second was Ashton Jeanty, the running back from Boise State. People have called Ashton Jeanty the people's Heisman, with Travis Hunter being the media's Heisman. And I think a lot of Jeanty fans would agree with that. I am someone, if you've been listening to the pod, I look at historical data and say what's going to happen. And one of the things that I find very interesting about Jeanty personally, so I'm going to set the stage real quick. I obviously thought Travis Hunter deserved it. Joe, you were a big Jeanty guy. Thought Jeanty deserved it. We have seen Jeanty seasons before. That's my main thing. I think one of the things that have been brought up to me is that we've never seen something like Ashton Ginty before. I think that's wrong. We have seen Ginty season before. No, it's not Barry Sanders. It's Kevin Smith. It's Rashad Penny. It's Melvin Gordon. Like, we've seen those seasons before, and none of the three people I mentioned won a Heisman. Like, a lot of the things that I keep seeing is them bringing up Trent Richardson or bringing up Mark Ingram or bringing up all these guys that did win Heismans that he has better stats than, but not bringing up the guys that have better stats than them that also didn't win a Heisman. So my whole reason why I didn't necessarily think Ashton Ginty was a Heisman winner was because he whooped up on Oregon. That was a really good game. And he had like 11 other games to play where he just whooped up against not great competition. Travis Hunter, what Travis Hunter has done to me, we will never see that again. I don't think we'll ever see it again. I don't think we'll ever see the best corner in football also play wide receiver to a high degree. That's the reason why he's the
Was he the best wide receiver in your eyes, though? Be honest.
No. I think Ted McMillan's the best receiver in football from Arizona. And if I had a Biletnikoff vote, I would have voted Ted McMillan. Now, I do think the people that are saying Nick Nash are just being ridiculous. But Ted McMillan.
That also goes to the point of, Graham Harrell, throwing for 5,800 yards and 40-something touchdowns in 2007 and him not even being invited. It's just one of those things. It's just like, system quarterback kind of shit, So
yeah, but also I think it was consistent quarterback, and also had Crabtree, right? Like, if anything, if you ask me, Crabtree should have been invited to freaking New York because Crab's numbers were just incredible. Like, they were ridiculous.
Yeah, almost 2,000 receiving yards and 22 touches. Yeah, that was a pretty solid season as well.
Yeah.
I've been back and forth on this a whole lot. My deal was, I kind of do in my own personal head. And, a lot of people may do it the same way, but, if you remove a player from a team, how well does that team succeed without that player? And I think Colorado was able to succeed and move forward without having a Travis Hunter on the field. I don't think the same bus or the same needle is moved anywhere close to Boise State right now without Ginty. I just don't think that it's the same. So how I grade it is a little bit different. I do think overall you're not going to see a guy take that many total snaps ever again in college football. He never left the field once he got on it. He was never, other than on kickoff and kickoff returns, he was never off the field. So you have to give credit where credit is due, because that's something you will never see again out of a college athlete, And that's what I think gave him the edge in that overall voting. That's why it was close. But, that one little thing that he does differently, and he's a great cornerback, the best in college football, and, top 10 wide receiver, arguably, for wide receiver. I mean, it's kind of hard to discredit that. I don't like it, because I still think Ginty had a hell of a season, but, I'm not going to fight it as much after I thought about it. So.
Well, see, I do think one thing, though, I'm going to push back on you a little bit, is that I do think that, so you make up a great point with the snaps, and I think the snaps is an incredible feat, similar to how what's his name for the Baltimore Orioles, the Iron Man?
Cal Ripken.
Similar to how Cal Ripken Jr. Has the Iron Man record, right? It's one of those things where it's like, it's when you reduce it, it's just the fact that he played more than anybody, but that's a feat in itself. In baseball, nobody plays a full season, especially not anymore. Right, the fact that he was able to do that's an unbeatable record because nobody will ever try to beat it. So I do think that's a piece there. However, I think if you just took a random guy and just made him play every snap, he's still not a Heisman. Like, to me, it was Hunter. Hunter is the best cornerback in football. At worst, second best. If you think Will Johnson from Michigan is better, at worst, Hunter's the second best corner in football. And though I don't think, like, just skill wise, he's the best receiver, he did put up, other than Ted McMillan, probably the second best stats at the receiver position, right? Like his stats comparative, like he was sixth in receiving yards in the country and second in receiving touchdowns in the country, which is better than what Marvin Harrison Jr. was last year when it comes to rankings. It's better than what Jalen Hyatt was the year before. Those are the two guys that won the Biletnikoff the year before. So, like, to me, I would have voted for Ted McMillan, but they were marginal. I think Hunter had more touchdowns, McMillan had more yards. Like, they were both pretty close. Like, it's not wasn't that, I actually thought that him winning the Bednarik over Abdul Carter was a little bit bigger of a, like, typically typically you see people in the front seven that win the Bednarik, and Hunter didn't have just amazing stats to warrant a corner winning the Bednarik, right? But then flip side, I thought him not being nominated as a finalist for the Thorpe was equally as ridiculous. So it's almost like they gave him a Bednarik because we really should have voted you for the Thorpe, but we messed it up.
I think the votes actually went into the wrong have you remember that scene on what is it? It's a Vegas vacation movie, like one of those deals, and they're at a buffet and there's a chicken and then there's a beef, and he's all like, "Is that chicken?" He's all like, "Oh no, that's not chicken. This is chicken." And he moves them from side to side. Oh, this isn't the Thorpe Award. This is the Thorpe Award. Oh, this is this is I think you're spot on that. Bednarik, I don't think he should have been. I just don't think he should have been there. The Thorpe, I do think he needed to be there. The Biletnikoff, that's a push, whatever. And then the Heisman, like I said,
Biletnikoff, I think he should have been a finalist for sure. His stats are enough to where he's going to be a finalist. Again, I would have voted Ted McMillan, but I'm not. It wasn't enough for it to be. So the fact that he is, let's even say he's just a Thorpe finalist or a Bednarik finalist and a Biletnikoff finalist. That alone is amazing. Right. So I think it's more than just the snaps. It's just the fact that he was top 3 at 2 positions. Right. And so, and I think a lot of people are, not you, but a lot of people online have been trying to reduce it to just snaps played when he's legitimately been top 3.
But I mean, if you're looking at snaps played, you're looking at snaps played at a high level. I mean, think about this kid, 3.5 quarters, 4 quarters into a game, going up against a McMillan kind of player. That warrants, a little bit of praise, or at least a lot of praise, that he's going up against a McMillan offensive, then he's turning around and going up against, their top cornerback as a wide receiver. So, I take that into consideration. I mean, that's just, like I said, you're never going to see that again. And I really hope he does well, because, like I said, I'm 40 years old. I could barely think of the fringe time when they were growing up about the whole dual athlete, like your Bo Jacksons, your Deion Sanders kind of guys. And these are the guys, those dual sport athletes. But this guy's doing it on the same sport on both sides at a high level, and that cannot be taken away. That's just, that's just facts.
Yeah, and we haven't seen that before, not in the last 50 years, right? We haven't. People brought up Miles Jack. Miles Jack did not run the ball as much, right? And he also wasn't a good running back. He was a real good linebacker, was not a good running back. There's that. And then
Deion, he was only a wide receiver with the Cowboys and like gadget plays. He was getting
gadget plays. Desmond Howard, they actually asked Desmond Howard about it, because Desmond Howard won the Heisman basically because of his ability to be a lockdown corner, as well as play some receiver and play in special teams. Desmond Howard was like, they only gave me a few plays on offense. I was not doing what Travis Hunter was doing. I wasn't playing out there every day. You'd have me messed up. So that's why I look at it and say, and also Travis, I know Travis Hunter listens to the podcast, huge fan. He's told me, great, fan of the pod. Travis, do not try to do this stupid stuff in the NFL. Okay? Do not play every snap in the NFL. Your career will be 3 years old. Do not do it. All right? Yeah. Play corner. I know wide receivers make more money. I get that. I understand why you'd want to play wide receiver, because they do make more money. But you're so much better. Like, corner's your position, buddy. Play corner.
Yeah. I don't want his career to be cut short because he wants to try to prove a point that he could do this at the NFL level. And I don't think there's any GM or right-minded, owner of a football that's going to, spend millions of dollars on some kid who wants to do it this way, because I just don't think it's going to happen that way. So
gadget plays, though, that I can see, right?
Absolutely.
Put him lockdown corner, give him some end arounds, gadget plays, maybe some wide receiver. He had that one zip to Shador, that wide receiver pass that he tried to do where he just kept it and ran instead. Like stuff like that, absolutely.
Yeah.
Few gadget plays,
look at Kevontae Turpin with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Maybe not as a return specialist, but once he gets the ball in his hand and he goes 0 to 60 in like 2 steps, and Travis Hunter has that same kind of elite speed. So I mean, why wouldn't you want to at least try to get the ball in your playmaker's hands, but just don't do it all the time.
Absolutely. So last thing I want to say before we get out the pod here, Joe. We talked a lot about the transfer portal in this episode. What about the timing of the transfer portal? So the portal, it's been open now for about a week. It'll be open for most of this month. But this is also the time when it's the first year of the college football playoff. Teams are getting ready for their first round game in the playoff. One team, notably Penn State, right, is hosting a home college football playoff game, and they're going to be without their backup quarterback who entered the portal. And this is a guy that didn't want to. This is a guy that he knew he was going to enter the portal. He knew he was going to be somewhere else, but he didn't want to do it yet. He wanted to still play. He wanted to still stay in and play for Penn State, right? And most schools don't have the policy that Texas Tech has, which allows players to continue to play despite being on the portal. And there's true issues there because now you're going to have, what do you do? What do you do? A good example of this is, let's say Quinn Ewers. What if Quinn Ewers, instead of trying to declare for the NFL draft, he wants to transfer? Right? It's obvious. I mean, rumblings are that Texas is ready for the Arch Manning era, right? So whether Quinn wants to go to the NFL, wants to go somewhere else, cough, cough, Oregon. What if Quinn Ewers is like, you know what? The portal's open. I got to go and take it, and I can't play for Texas anymore. Like, that's ridiculous. That'd be ridiculous. They got to find, in my opinion, they got to find a way to fix this. It's just a terrible situation all around, Joe.
Yeah, there should be a healthy median for some of these. I wish that people and coaches and universities would be more open to letting some of these guys get a run on the field, because maybe if they haven't played a whole lot and they're going to get a chance to play in this bowl game, that's the only tape that's out there for them to try to get picked up from another university. And it's hindering that for sure. And that sucks for that player from Penn State itself, but I think there should be a healthy median to where a university and the player could figure this out to where these kind of situations don't happen anymore, but it sucks to see.
Yeah. I think this offseason, after the season's over, there's going to be a few things that need just immediate changes. I think that's one. They have to adjust that schedule for the transfer portal. So that's one. I think another one is going to be I think the one easy fix for the college football playoff is after the first round to reorganize the seating. So the number one pick will always play the worst pick, right? Like there's technically there could be a scenario where the number one pick or the number one seeded team, Oregon, plays the toughest team in the first round, right? If we see 3 upsets, but the 8th seed moves on, they can play the toughest team, and that doesn't make sense. So I think that's an easy one. Some teams want to do away with, or some conferences want to do away with the conference champions getting the automatic bye. They want to have the top 4 seeds be the bye. I don't care enough to fight it. I still think it should be conference champions getting the bye because they've earned the bye. But again, I don't care too much enough to fight it. I do think there's going to be some changes that are going to be here. One change, or one big piece that already happened that I didn't even realize was still ongoing. Did you know Baylor's Title IX case just ended? The one from the Bryles case?
Really?
That just ended. Yes.
I didn't know that. But to be but to be frank, I don't give a shit about Baylor, so it's like I didn't know that though. Like I hadn't even seen that posted anywhere, So yeah. I've been on this whole transfer portal stuff and things like that, but I just that never came across what I was looking at for sure.
Yep, good old ESPN. And so, last question I have for you, Joe, is if you were the Cowboys, your favorite football team, because you're like one of 5, you actually still care. Even though I'll give the Cowboys credit. Y'all are like 6-8, which is like 4 more wins than I expected up to this point. So good on you for that. But if you're the Cowboys, let's say you were looking for a new quarterback, who would you rather have? Alan Bowman or DJ Uiagalelei? DJ because they both DJU and Alan Bowman both quote unquote declared for the draft today.
If I'm just going from a standpoint on a quarterback, I would probably go DJ just because of the running aspect. You got to have a mobile quarterback in the system, or Mike McCarthy, if he's still running that offense. But with some of the playmakers, you got to extend the play. And I just don't think Alan Bowman has the mobility anymore at 66 years old to, move around in the pocket. So, yeah, give me DJ. Not even close. I wouldn't even consider Bowman, to be completely honest.
What happened to quarterbacks declaring for enterprise? Is that not a thing anymore?
I don't know. Workforce,
Yeah.
Shit, bro. He's gonna be selling insurance for Texas Farm Bureau in about two months, bro. Like,
hey man,
after
Bowman,
it is what it is.
Listen, Bowman. I'm sure Cody Campbell's hiring. Double legal, baby. Put that double legal hat on, boy. There you go.
Yeah. Be a yes man. I mean, you have I don't know 14 degrees right now. You use one of them. I mean, you've been in college since '96, so do something with your life. God.
I did also, we're ragging on Bowman, but I also found it funny in DJU's announcement that he had a picture of himself at each university, but the Clemson and the Florida State one were grayed out, and the Oregon State one was still in color. And I was like, that's like you telling the scouts, yeah, only look at these highlights. Don't look at any other highlights but Oregon State. Oregon State good, everywhere else bad.
Yeah, I'm sure that got all the positive pub like Travis Hunter's girlfriend got. So
Oh Lord Jesus! Oh goodness gracious! So anything else you want to say to the people?
No. Let's keep this fucking train rolling in the transfer portal. Like, this is great. Hopefully we, like I said, that we spoke on earlier, that we don't lose any pieces that were potential heavy contributors to this upcoming season. I know it's a business and I know that's part of the game, but I like to see if that a majority of that core stays here. But yeah, watching essentially this team take shape for 2025 is getting exciting. The news of Will Hammond being the QB1 for the Liberty Bowl is very interesting as well, to the future of this football program. What are we going to do with this? What kind of offense are we going to run? Josh Kelly not being with the football team as he prepares for the NFL draft. So what are our wide receiver group going to look like come the Liberty Bowl? I mean, just a lot of things going on. Basketball team went to 8-2 this evening, beating a bad Oral Roberts team. Still without JT chopping, but we were able to get some things going for us heading into conference play. And yeah, it's just a really good time to be a Red Raider. And these sports are going to come fast and furious. And and I don't know if we're going to do another recording before Christmas, but Merry Christmas to all of our listeners out there from us, for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. JT, you don't got to play and really till the new year. Take the load off. You're fine, right?
Yeah.
And so, like Joe was saying, big win as far as margin of victory, not because of the opponent, but nice 36-point win against Oral Roberts today, improving to 8-2. We do play Lamar this weekend. On the women's side, we haven't talked enough about the women. Women are right now sitting at 10-2. A not so great loss to SMU last week, but we're able to get a nice win over Arkansas to lament the loss of SMU. So now trying to get back on the road, back on it, playing Lamar also. They're on the 17th before making that trip to a very bad Houston team. So that'll kick off conference season. Hopefully we start our conference season with a nice win against Houston. We get going, right? For Tech, starting to see some possibilities. I think the SMU loss wasn't a great one, but they were able to kind of figure some stuff out. The tournament is still a possibility, I think, for Tech. WNIT is also a possibility, which also means postseason. So let's see what we do in the conference play on the women's side. Men's side, y'all better make the tournament. I don't know what y'all talking about. No, hey, that was advice for them. For you, make it. Okay. So there's that overall. Other stuff, Mike Vick is apparently trying to be a head coach either at Norfolk, and he has options. Norfolk State and Sacramento State both hitting up Mike Vick and saying, "Hey, you want to? I know you ain't done this before, but you want to coach for us." So that's interesting. But yeah, a lot of fun stuff going on. We may try to have a Christmas episode. I don't know, no promises here, but either way, like Joe said, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and for all of that, this is your boy Albie Short. You have been listening to the Tortillas Takes podcast, part of the 1012 Network. As always, stay ready, people.